please welcome Sarah Endline, a Harvard entrepreneur in residence, Masha V, head of marketing and communications at Rarible, Erik LaPaglia, he's the co-founder of Miami NFT, Elena Obukhova, CEO of Flashback One, and Natalie Ager, CEO and co-founder of RareWorks. Guys, give them a round of applause. Welcome to the stage. All yours.
Yay. Hello. Good afternoon. We're almost done. How are you guys doing?
I think people are more focused on the happy hour that's about to happen.
I see some friends out there. Hi, Chris. We've got Costa Rica in the house. I know that much. Cool. Awesome. We have an action-packed. You know what? We can scooch one more over. Let's do that, unless we're missing. We'll go into the middle. We'll go into the middle.
Recentering.
I think do we have our fourth? No. Okay, maybe not. That's awesome. Hello, New York City. I am a New Yorker, so it is always good to be here at NFT.NYC. I'm Sarah Endline. I'm an entrepreneur in residence for Harvard Business School. I like to say I live in the cycle of entrepreneurship, so advise, do some investing, mentoring, building companies. I started an early B corporation after I was at Yahoo many, many moons ago. And I'm about to start another B corporation. So if you know that world and want to talk about it, find me. We have an awesome panel today. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, but Masha, Erik, and Elena are here with us. I don't know if Natalie is going to join. We're going to find out. But I'm going to pass it first to Masha, who will tell you a little bit about her background.
Yeah, hi everybody. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Masha, and I run marketing and communications for Rarible for almost 3 years now. So kind of been part of this kind of insane scene for quite some time now. Yeah, I've been in blockchain since 2017. So yeah, that's me.
Oh, before we let her off so easily, Masha, what led you, like, you were obviously doing other things before Rarible. What kind of led you there?
Yeah, so first I was in entertainment, like before blockchain. And then I guess, as for a lot of people, that was just like by accident that we started. It's me and my twin sister. We started working with a couple of startups. In the space, it was like the crazy age of ICO boom. So I know a lot of people got involved right there. And then we started a small PR studio that's called It Takes Two. And we were working with quite a few companies in the space already when NFTs started to pick up. And Rarible actually came in as a client for us. But yeah, we just like hit it off so fast that I jumped in-house full time.
Amazing, amazing. I love this panel because it's two new friends and then an older young friend of mine. Erik, will you introduce yourself?
I think I was just called old. So, hey everybody, I'm Erik LaPaglia. I am probably best known in the space as being co-founder of Miami NFT Week, which just took place. And it's funny, it's never lost on me that even though to the outside world we might be considered competitive conferences, that's not the ethos of what Web3 is all about. We all want to support each other. We all want to help and make sure that it is as vibrant a community as humanly possible. A little bit of background, corporate life was spent in broadcasting. Subsequently from there, bought and sold a bunch of advertising agencies, started to take equity positions in some of the clients we worked with. Found myself with private equity portfolio. What do I do with this? So I started then investing, and that's really what my day job is. I look for great founders in the very earliest stages possible, so I can help them shape idea, products, services, and get them to market. I also do quite a bit of corporate consulting on Web3 integration strategy as well, and I'm happy to be here.
I know we can't say NFT experts because none of us are experts, but Erik has been in the space and by building NFT Miami, you see so much incredible content. So we just had that 2 weeks ago. Congratulations. It was a pure love fest, and I agree with you. We do not compete with any other city. NFT Paris, NFT NYC, NFT Miami, they all have incredible content and value. So thank you for that. Elena.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena. I joined crypto in 2014, and I have been working a lot with smaller companies, helping them to grow their business and expand to emerging economies. I used to live in 9 countries before, so I was helping to advise on how to expand to China, South Korea, and other countries in Southeast Asia. I was consulting United Nations, understood that it doesn't work because of bureaucracy and lack of understanding of new technologies. So I started working with VC fund, focusing on how we can actually help founders to grow their businesses, build my consulting company, and a year and a half ago co-founded Supermoon Group together with Chris Michael, who's here today. And we continue focusing on helping founders and builders to connect not only to investors, but to important network members that can help them to scale their business. And we heavily focus and support self-sovereignty and decentralization.
So let's stay with you, Elena, because you have our newest company here on the block. People might know Rarible, they might know a little bit about Miami NFT Week, but how did you create your thesis, and how are you thinking about taking NFTs to the masses?
So actually, we started as a hobby project because I was still running my consulting company. In the meantime, also built NFT ticketing platform. And we were traveling a lot to different events. We were meeting new people, and I think like crypto started growing so fast. If I compare it to 2017 in Hong Kong, it would be a small room full of people passionate about crypto, willing to build and actually building. It grew so much, so people became really disconnected from each other. So we wanted to create a space where community can not only meet, but where they can create the trust and actual meaningful relationships. So we started renting houses where people can stay under one roof and not only enjoy the conference, but also in-depth conversations that we can do in-house. And because of this trust, people were also willing to discuss topics you will never hear on a stage, you will never hear anywhere else. You will learn about the true nature of crypto. And that inspired us to continue growing and create more activations that help builders to connect with each other. We did Near House just recently at East Denver. It was a huge success. Our crew who was staying with us actually got most of the bounties during East Denver, and they never met each other. So they met at the Near House, they joined hacking activations, and they took all the prizes. So that was a really good showcase on how to increase adoption. It's through creating a trust, through bridging, connecting community, and explaining the values, because a lot of people are disconnected from true values behind crypto, behind Bitcoin, and we wanted to make sure that we spread awareness, create this trust, and position our values really clear, because that's how community comes together.
I love that, and I think some of the most interesting ideas come from people that spend time across different cities and different regions. It's not like a one city idea. It's truly global, which obviously the internet is global. If you're going to launch, you have a real chance to take it that far, so that's awesome. I'm gonna jump to Rarible. You are obviously an international company, and you're based here. How are you thinking about taking NFTs to the masses?
Yeah, I think for Rarible, us being an NFT marketplace, of course, we're thinking what role NFT marketplaces will play in that. And right now, we really believe that a lot of new people will come into this space through brands and through big communities, either existing or emerging. And so, how we're thinking about it is that, okay, a brand is coming into the space. What do they need from their experience in terms of technology, marketplace? And one thing is definitely easier UX, that's for sure. So something that will make it easier for people to onboard, because still, the majority of world's population, if you tell them to go and create MetaMask, and fill it up with crypto, that will be a huge roadblock for them still. So it's just a matter of making onboarding easier, making UX easier. And then second thing is most of the brands right now are looking for looking to create their own custom experience in terms of, we can look, at Starbucks or at Reddit or, at a lot of brands who have been like entering the scene in a really cool way that makes sense. And honestly, like nobody is, dropping that on like a kind of general marketplace. Everybody is creating their own custom experiences. And it kind of goes to the conversation, of Amazon versus Shopify. So that is one product that from Wearables side was started to work on, is to allow people to create their own marketplaces through Generator or through white label. We already worked with companies like McFarlane, like Fox, V1 CryptoPunks, more from the crypto like from native Web3 space. So this like custom experience is definitely second. And third, I believe trust is really, really important. And kind of goes back to what Elena was saying, that like people need to understand what's it all about and how to stay safe in the space and what is the ethos. I believe the education component is really, really important. And that is what we're really focused on in terms of our own editorial channels and so on. Just spreading awareness, spreading the word, and helping people to stay safe.
Do you feel like, I want to stay with you, because it sounds like Rarible may also be kind of evolving its thesis or its strategy. So are you focused now more on brand relationships to reach the masses?
I think that's definitely a big part of it. Like Rarible has always been like a very, creator-focused marketplace, because we started our journey by working in onboarding creators into the space, like Pack, for instance, or Lil Rona. So that is a part of our DNA, and it will always stay so. And like creators are also, they are evolving and they're looking for more interactive, customized experiences to offer to their communities. So this is definitely a big game. But just in terms of the scale, if we're talking about bringing mass consumer audience into the scene, then definitely brands are a big focus. But it's a different like application of NFTs, mostly like, customer loyalty programs, if you can call it that.
Yes. Okay, well, that's a great segue to Erik, who's going to share, I'm sure, an incredible example of what he's seen among his clients and across NFT Miami or New York. What are the best examples of bringing NFTs to the masses?
Well, I think Masha just touched on a couple of them. Starbucks, let's look at that. They took their loyalty program, relaunched it as Odyssey, never uttered the word NFTs, never talked about Polygon, none of it. They just said, hey, we have a better digital experience to offer. Reddit, very much the same way. So they just, I honestly, and this is gonna be blasphemy to this audience, NFTs is an awful moniker. It is just fundamentally, people get confused about what it is. They think it's the ape of the week picture, and they don't understand the underlying technology. And so I really feel like we just need to strip away a lot of the complexity and the layers that we want to get enamored with. Oh, I've got this functionality, or I've got this API that I created that does this, that. It's just technology. And so if we think about ourselves on the bleeding edge of technology, how does it apply to our daily lives without friction? Because again, to Masha's point, if you hand somebody a MetaMask and tell them what they have to do, and God forbid they have to change chains or anything like that, it's going to melt their minds. And so we need something that is one-click simple, where it gets people on board and they have a digital experience that is richer and more meaningful. One of the things that's most frustrating to see is metaverses right now. If you got 100 people on the stage, you would get 100 different versions or definitions of what a metaverse is. That's a problem for us. Like, we have to mutually agree upon, like, hey, this is what we're talking about, and this is where we'd like to go. It's so decentralized that we don't have that clarion voice offering us guidance. So I say anytime I get on a stage, like, let's just say a metaverse is a new version of a website. Maybe a little more rich, immersive, yada, 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 but it's just the next iteration of that. Because guess what? people understand that. They're already interacting with that. So if we don't try and be smarter than the room and just understand that, like, hey, keep it simple, stupid, you're going to have mass adoption come. And the companies that already have, you're seeing success with it.
So it's been a topic today for sure, the semantics of how we're talking about NFTs and why are we even using tech-forward language, like the Starbucks example. I'm curious, Erik, besides Starbucks, which is held up there as this like shining star of they just really didn't talk about it and they rolled it out. Is there anyone else that comes to mind as an example of how they're following exactly what we're talking about, which is consumer, human-centered design, strip all the technical language, and talk about the value for them?
Well, I think we see a lot of companies on the cusp of it. I really am enamored with Hedera and what they're doing specifically. Look at their governance board. It's, you know, DLJ Piper is represented, Boeing is represented. It's a litany of Fortune 500 companies. If they're paying attention, you know that we are in the right space. It's just how do you have that jumping off point? And another thing that I see, much to my consternation, is people who are so focused on building community. And I love having an engaged fan base. That is obviously meaningful and important. But let's also make money, because my experience tells me revenue is the best deodorant. So get some revenue in the door, because that is going to give you the ability to be more dexterous as you move forward and have the resources and the capital to test things. It's amazing to me the amount of people who are so in love with their idea, they're not willing to test it. And so it's frustrating to me as an investor when I reach, you know, out to somebody and they share this amazing vision, but they're so myopically focused and they're so locked into their idea of what it needs to look like. Wear this stuff like a roomy garment. Like, just see what fits, what's going to resonate with your community. Because once you tap into something, you can have success. And especially in this space, we have shown it does not take a large number to have an incredibly successful project or platform or company on your hand. So get interested, find out what your people want, and then go build to it. Don't go build something, spend $50 million and roll it out and be like, oh, wait, you didn't want that? I'm thinking of you, Coinbase.
Oh, wow.
That's a dig.
You heard it here first.
That
was a dig. That was a Coinbase NFT marketplace, very specific dig.
I love Brian Armstrong, but they fumbled that. They fumbled it dramatically, and much to the benefit of the existing ecosystem.
Okay, we're going to go back to that. That's fascinating. I want to get Elena into this conversation, and I also just want to repeat, you heard it here first, revenue is the best deodorant. Erik, what a soundbite. Maybe a tweet, I'm not sure. You heard it from Erik. Elena, what is an inspiring example for you of someone taking NFTs to the masses?
I actually want to say the reason why no one can name a really good example of NFT use cases is because everyone doing it wrong. Because NFT is a technology. Like, we forget that it's technology. It's not supposed to mean anything to people. If you want to build successful business, you have to solve a problem that people really care about, that people are facing on a daily basis. That's what makes business a success, is you coming up with a solution for a problem. And right now, what most of the brands are doing, they just putting a name NFT on top of their, I don't know, product or anything else they were using before, without any purpose, without any actual reason but marketing. So I think we will never be able to come up with a good use cases, with a good solutions, if people continue focusing on the hype around using technology for marketing purpose, instead of focusing on their business and finding this need in the market for a certain solution. NFT is a technology. Metaverse is also, I don't think we need to come up with a one definition for metaverse. Metaverse is a concept. I think there should be use cases that coming up with a clear definition what the specific metaverse is. Is it a space for gatherings? Is it a virtual conference space, or whatever else they want to come up with? But that's all about technology and the concept. It shouldn't be promoted. It shouldn't be advertised. No one cares about NFTs. And I think this year we actually see it. Of course, no one cares about NFTs, no one understands it, and they have no need in understanding what NFT is. But what people could understand, they could understand solution for voting, for decentralized voting, where you can actually solve existing problem that people can relate to. So we're talking about adoption, but I think none of the people actually focusing on why. People will figure out how to use something if they know why, if they have motivation. Now, no one has this motivation.
Love it. So no one's doing it right. We heard it, right? But let's take this deeper. And I'm going to go back to Masha and Erik, who are sitting in rooms with brands. What's going wrong in this conversation? Do they understand that it's not about NFT and that language? Are they there? We're all there already because we're in the space and we're active in this space. A brand comes to you, and do they understand it's about human-centered design, consumer value, what they can really, the problems they can solve, what Elena's talking about, or they're just not there yet? Take us behind the scenes. Let's start with you, Masha, and then go to Erik.
Yeah, I think like a lot of brands, just the way that companies are structured, they have marketing departments and they have marketing budgets, and for the past couple of years, that has been like a huge column in this budget. Let's figure out what to do with Web3, with NFTs, just because it's on everybody's minds. So I think that's definitely a big component of that. I will say though, like if we look to 2021, when Taco Bell just dropped, an NFT and it sold out in minutes, and everybody was writing about it, articles, because woo, a brand went into NFTs. Right now, it really starts to get more refined and more sophisticated. So we know that behind the scenes, a lot of brands have put together specific teams designed to do something meaningful in this space. And I know on Twitter recently, Nintendo announced that they're hiring a lead of Web3 direction, and everybody went super excited about that, because I would imagine that if Nintendo enters the space, they will do it in a right way. And we need someone like Nintendo, even if it will take 5 years to release a game, let's say, of the complexity of Zelda, an amazing A+ game, then it will be the adoption, just because it will be something that people really want. But I want to also quote, there is a great author, his name is Packy McCormick. He has a newsletter, it's called Not Boring. And he wrote a really cool article that's called A Great Online Game, I think a couple of years ago now. But basically the thesis is that we are all playing this great online game. So we have this physical reality, and now we have a digital reality. And for a lot of people, the way that we appear in the digital reality is not really connected, to our physical. Maybe we're other people, or have our own component of digital identity. And that's where, with PFPs, for instance, we really saw how people want to associate themselves with some specific community or show up in a specific way. And I think when brands also understand that they're also playing this great online game, and they're catering, yes, to their communities, but also to how their communities and some other people show up online, it will just bring a whole new context into the scene. But it's kind of hard to crack, just because, it's very, when it comes to your own digital identity, a lot of teams are doing avatar solutions or something else, but it's way deeper and more philosophical than that, if I can call it that.
Yeah, if you're dealing with a large, complex organization, I mean, again, they really may not understand any aspect of Web3. So Erik, again, we're going behind the scenes, you're out, you're talking to brands, do they get it? Is Elena what she's saying true? People don't get it yet? Or is it just that everything's kind of in the planning process and waiting for approvals before they come out with their incredible consumer value-based NFT?
Yes and no. I mean, the truth is, it's certainly case by case. A lot of corporations don't understand even where to silo this activity within their own organization. And so you get different departments who maybe aren't necessarily aligned on what their value is or what their proposition to the marketplace is, or it's not coming from my budget, it's got to come from her budget. And so there's a misalignment right now. You're seeing companies get it right though. Like there is money to be made. Nike's made $200+ million in Web3 products at this point. Adidas done exceedingly well in the space. So there is opportunity. It's just a matter of what's your jumping off point. And so I think that it's incumbent upon all of the C-suites of these companies out there to just say, how do we start? Where do we start? How can we offer massive value to our existing audience and get them engaged in what we're looking to offer? Or do we just build it in the background? Like, it is not lost on me that Jamie Dimon, while he was out there publicly trashing a lot of digital assets publicly, he was hiring 4,500 cryptologists in the background and building Onyx, which is one of the largest blockchain projects in humanity. And if I were to pull on that thread and think future casting a little bit, I would have a feeling that a lot of our banking relationship with that entity would be on chain going forward. And so that's the sort of blockchain integration where they're never going to utter the word NFTs, and they shouldn't, because again, it is just fundamentally a better mousetrap. So I feel like we need to be the best ambassadors that we can and just talk about, like, how is it better? You know, how does this remove friction in our life and make things easier for us?
Well, we're segueing into our last minutes, and the last question, I'm going to go to Elena and then Masha, and finally to Erik. And I'm sure there's a lot of entrepreneurs, creators in the audience. This is not necessarily corporate America out here, right? So I'm going to take it back from the corporate America discussion into more of the creator entrepreneurial conversation. So in our last minutes, Elena, what's kind of your best share, your best piece of advice to our lovely audience to really, strip all this confusion about NFT technology language and move the space forward?
I always say focus on the value. You need to create value for something to work. If there is no value in your product, just don't waste your time. Focus on the value and on why you're building it.
Masha.
Yeah, I would say that everything is intention is everything, just generally in life and in this space as well. Like if your intention is just to figure out how to make money on this, it's probably not the best intention. But if you're in the space thinking how I can be of service, how my product can bring value to other people and make their lives easier or just more exciting, which can be the case with the whole metaverse and digital identity, then it's definitely a good point to start.
Ooh, value, intention, making people's lives more exciting. We say yes. Erik.
In case you didn't notice, I'm a very revenue-focused individual, and so I'm obsessed with customer lifetime value. I think it's one of the key metrics that many organizations and companies just fundamentally don't focus on, because it is the best barometer for success that I've ever looked at. With that being said, the only way that I know how to predictably drive that is to create a raving fan culture. And what I mean by that is I want companies to be able to offer so much value that their constituents feel like they're stealing from you because of the amount of value that you offer. And so ask yourself that. Ask yourself, your team, that. How can we create that? What product or blind spot do we have? What are we missing? Who already has our ideal customer in a non-competing vertical? Go collaborate with them, because the one thing that is not lost on me in this space is traditional business was a zero-sum game. For me to win, you had to lose. That is not the case here, and you are seeing brands on a daily basis now do collaborations, and you're like, I would have never thought that those two things would come together. Lacoste and Netflix, Adidas and Gucci, those aren't two things that normally go together, but you're seeing success, and more importantly, you're seeing that it resonates with the customers. And so go find those opportunities, lean into them, and then rinse and repeat. Do it over.
Awesome. We have a few more seconds yet. I want each of you to point to a resource, something that you feel like you've read that will help people advance in their thinking around this. A book, a column, you get an email newsletter. Elena, anything you're reading or a resource you follow?
I think for everyone who's just joining the space, I always say to start with the Bitcoin standard, just to understand the values behind crypto space. And for anyone else who is advancing in the crypto space, I always say visit events and talk to people who are actually building projects in the space. And now I think the best places to go is hacker houses, where you can get information behind the scenes. Because there's so many verticals in crypto. If you want to advance in a specific topic, ask community, and they will help to navigate.
Erik.
Just because he's a dear friend, I'm going to shout out the Daily Ralpha. It's an amazing daily newsletter that just gives you kind of a snapshot and overview of where we're at in the ecosystem.
We love the Daily Ralpha.
I think I shared mine, The Great Online Game, which is an article by Becky McCormick. That's one. And then I really love the Proof Daily Rundown, I believe it's called. That's hosted by Sam, NFT Statistics. 10 minutes a day gives you pretty much like everything you need to know what happened in the last 24 hours, which can be really, really useful in this space.
Amazing.
Wait, Sarah, what's yours?
Ooh, wow. Daily Ralpha, to be honest, is like one of the first things in my inbox in the morning. So not to say ditto, I'm just going to go with that. And of course, conferences, which has been said, Elena. So NFT.NYC, NFT Miami. I try to anchor around cities where I have a connection to family or friends, where I want to go back. I want to build relationships. For me, Paris, Miami, New York, but that's not, I mean, there's so many things across Asia, etc., to attend, to meet people in real life. So that would be my tip. And poof, we're out of time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Erik. Thank you, Masha. Taking NFTs to the masses. Thank you, awesome audience. And thank you, NFT NYC.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.